How's it going, everybody? Papa Wall Street back with another focused list review. Today we're going to look at 10 names I'm focused on for this week. Let's dive right in. So first off, this morning we are getting a slight gap down from the overnight session. Not exactly sure why, but there's a couple of names that are down, anywhere from 1 to 3%. So we just want to keep that in mind, and actually kind of plays out fairly well into some of the names that we're going to talk about. So ALAB first up. Now, ALAB, I was involved in this trade back in August through September, even before then, where we had this nice run up into the highs around 260. And if we look at the move, it was a very clean 5-wave move to the upside, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's your triangle 4. And then when you get your wave 5 completion, you generally get like an ABC or some sort of WXY or complex retracement to the downside. And that's kind of what I've been watching for. One of the key things that I watch for is a pullback contained within parallel lines, right? And that's exactly what you're seeing here, right? It's a very orderly sell-off, right? You have a 3-wave move, 3-wave move, 3-wave move, 3-wave move, 3-wave move, right? And you could see it kind of here. It's easier to watch these moves on the lower time frames, but it looks something like this: like ABC, 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 right? And that forms our WXY, which is a double combo. Sometimes they triple combo. Really good if you're interested in learning Elliott Wave. There's some great resources that I've shared in the book review video. But yeah, this looks pretty. It looks pretty good in terms of a count. More importantly, I like to layer in things, and Fibonacci is being, really hand in hand with Elliott Wave. This pullback right here came right into the 618. It's beautiful. It really is just picture perfect. And, I started accumulating ALAB right here around 140, 145, added some more in the low 150s. And now look what's happening. So in this W wave, we pulled right into 153 for 4 days, consolidated, and then bounced. And then we kind of came back into it here, bounced here, and then we broke down, and then it was resistance, false breakout, resistance, resistance, and now breakout. Backtest hammer on Friday, and now we're holding right over 153. So for today, I'm going to watch 153. If we hold and or possibly bounce off of that, I'm going to add more shares there. And I think my first major target to the upside is going to be 193. But if we can break over 193, then what's going to happen is at the completion of this WXY channel, we might have a new 5-wave move sequence starting to set up. And what that might look like is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. So that's why I'm looking to possibly accumulate here, and then maybe possibly accumulate more on a wave 2 pullback, and then wait for that final thrust. Outside of all of that I just said, we also have bullish divergence on RSI and MACD. And that's basically when you have price making lower lows, and you have the indicator, whether it be RSI, MACD, Williams percent R, they're making higher lows. And so the indicator is doing something different than what price is doing. So ALAB looks pretty good for a setup here for the medium term. And these are the types of swings that I like. I'm not necessarily looking for, a 3 to 5 day move on a swing trade. I'm looking for a 3 to 5 month move. And I think that's why I'm very well suited for people that are either working a 9 to 5 or are, swing to position traders. These types of setups work really, really well. I'm looking for those longer term trades that, maybe can go 50 to 100% in 6 months. All right, next one up is BMNR. Now this is a proxy for Ethereum. And you can see we had a pretty big run up here back in June. and then an equally big move to the downside. And then we've been consolidating since July between 30 and 65. And you can see 30 to 65 here. This was around 133% move. And we pulled down, moved back up, pulled down, moved back up, had a bigger pull down, and undercut the prior base. You could see the false breakdown here. And that's kind of what got me interested, is this false breakdown. Now, RSI is breaking over the trend line, but we're still under 50, so that's not good. And MACD just crossed over, and that tends to be a leading signal, an early signal for a reversal. The other thing is we are under the cloud, and the cloud for me, this is going to be the 10 EMA on the downside, the 21 EMA on the top. And you can see when it turns from purple to red, you basically have an EMA cross under. And when it turns from red to purple, you have an EMA cross over. So we're still under the cloud. So I'm not saying jump into this trade just yet. But if we do backtest, like right where we are now on the gap down at 30.77, and we hold that level, this might be an area to take an initial position in shares. And then the next position in shares I would take would be over the 21 EMA. And then the final position to build, I would take a position around $40 and then target 65 to the upside, right? And I would sell probably a portion into 65. That would be, maybe a total of, let's say 70 to 90% move. And then if we get the breakout, then wow, yeah, we can move all the way back up to 140. But in order for that to happen, crypto has to move, right? And right now we're seeing a bit of a pullback this morning in crypto. But if you look at the bigger picture, if you think that the low for the cycle is not in yet, or excuse me, the high for the cycle is not in yet, then yeah, I think we could see a bigger run on BMNR. But if the high for the cycle is in and we're looking for bigger pullbacks next year, 2026, then yeah, this is probably not a good trade. So we're doing a little bit of bottom feeding here. So we do have to be careful, but we know where we're wrong. We're wrong under this low right here. So I think the risk to the reward is pretty good. All right, next up is GEV. Now, GEV has shown some pretty good relative strength to the market over the last, let's say, week and a half to 2 weeks while we've been pulling back. And if you look at this setup, it looks very similar to that A-Lab setup in terms of the pullback in parallel lines. We also have the potential for a 5-wave move up. Wave 1, 2, your long extended wave 3, and then your more complex, possibly ABC or WXY setup here, right? Could be something a little bit more complex going on. But regardless, outside of Elliott wave, a couple of things to really like here. We have a MACD already crossed over. We have a slingshot squeeze setting up. And for me, the slingshot squeeze basically is the squeeze setting up in negative territory and moving up to positive territory. And what I've noticed in these types of setups is it creates the slingshot effect where price tends to explode higher. So for GEV, and again, this is going to be on the energy side of the GE brand, which energy is going to be a very big play, I think, for the next 2 to 5 years with all this data center build out for AI systems. Energy is going to be the big topic, and I think GEV is well positioned for a move to the upside. This one's consolidating nice, as mentioned, in the parallel channel. I think accumulating shares in this range between 576 and 607 makes a lot of sense. Maybe keeping stops under 550. And then if you get the breakout, this is your target zone up here, 716 to 788. So again, looking for those longer term